guys, welcome to the FFL Sky's Limit Call. My name is Stephen Yee. I am your host today. I'm very excited to be able to have a great friend of mine, my brother, Josh Crenshaw, fellow integrity partner, Hall of Fame producer, Hall of Fame agency manager as well, come on and share his thoughts with us. You know, the cool part is, you know, I've had a chance to know Josh over the last 3-4 years, and being able to watch his maturity in this business grow is like so awesome, right? I remember when he was brand new, like not really wanting to do this toe dip with this, and then he crushed it and went Hall of Fame the same year I did. And we were basically like workout partners in the process. So being able to watch him do that and then move out to Vegas and get his integrity partnership, like it's just been awesome being able to have somebody to ride that journey with too. So hey, Josh, you there with us?
Steve, I'm on, bro. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. So I appreciate you hopping on, man. This is our base shop, as you know. That's all we're focusing on nowadays, right? And it's fun because our base shop is growing and we're doing some great things. Dude, so for those that don't know you, can you kind of share your quick story of like why family first life, like even let alone life insurance, right? Like how did you fall into this?
Yeah, guys. So first off, Steve, thanks for having me on, man. Super appreciative to be talking to you guys. And yeah, like Steve said, you know, early on, guys, it's almost over 4 years now, Steve. Time's flying, man. But guys, I was almost 30 years old, man. I didn't have it figured out at all. I was kind of bouncing around the job marketplace, and I think I'd worked like 10 W-2 jobs in the year prior before finding Family First Life. And you know, insurance was something I didn't really want to do. I was like, it's commission based. No, I'm out. You know, this isn't fun. and for me, it was guys, I kind of fell into insurance and FFL as a last option, you know, and I think a lot of people probably feel the same way, right? We've been beaten and battered by the workforce. School didn't go right. We didn't get the job that we applied for. Whatever happens, right? We're just in a spot where we all kind of come together, and that's the beauty about FFL. Typically we find this opportunity in an imperfect time in our life, and that's really what, you know, kind of shows, you know, who you're going to be in the business by kind of what you've been through and what you're willing to sacrifice to get to the next level. But for me, guys, I didn't have another opportunity. This was it, man. I was trying to get a state job in California at the time, and I kept getting declined for whatever reason. And each time I would get declined, Steve, I'd have to wait 12 months before I could even reapply.
No way.
So there was and then guys, after my third time, I got a third decline on my birthday. It was March 31st, 2020, guys. And that was it. I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to apply again. I'm not going to search for any other job. I have the opportunity right in front of me. I just need to go all in, right? I need to stop selling myself short. And guys, that opportunity wasn't, imagine if I had got in, right? Imagine if I took the state job and settled for, you know, what I was wanting to do. You know, God always opens more doors when you're just consistent and you're a good person and you just work hard. But Steve, 4 years ago, man, it completely changed, right? And this business is what you make out of it. And I think a lot of people, guys, were settling, right? I think a lot of people are settling for just getting by. And I'm gonna be honest, it's not good enough for you. You deserve better, your family deserves better, and you know, this opportunity deserves better. So it's been an amazing ride being able to, you know, meet and partner with people like you. It's been you know, it's been a blessing just in life in general. So I'm super excited to be here. And you know, we're just getting started. You're not late to the show, you're right on time, but the opportunity is definitely what you make of it.
I love it, man. Dude, like so many people, especially I'm assuming majority of the people on this call, like they have no idea what it even means to be integrity. Like they're like, what is that word? Isn't that just a word in the dictionary, right? So can you kind of share with everybody what it means to have an integrity partnership? Because it's not like there's many of us, and it's like the pinnacle of success here. And what people think about integrity versus what is two different things too. You know what I mean? So can you kind of share with them, you know, your journey on you and Alondra's journey onto integrity and what it means for you and your family and what it means now?
Yeah, guys. So when we started, integrity wasn't a thing, right? Integrity wasn't an option for us. It was just kind of like, hey, we need to make money. We need to go do well so we can stop worrying about what else we're going to do in life. Because Alondra too, guys, my wife, she was going to school. She had just gotten her associate's degree and was waiting to get in the nursing program. And she got denied too in Bakersfield, where we're from. A lot of people, they either want to get into like the police force, nursing, or corrections. That's what I was trying to get into, and it's super competitive, right? But for us, Steve, like once we started getting consistent and getting the ball rolling, and then we saw the opportunity of Integrity Marketing Group. They're the biggest life and health distributor in the country, guys, and they're bigger than the Dallas Cowboys, any professional sports team out right now. But people just don't know who Integrity is or what they do. So really, guys, they look to partner with profitable businesses that are really just doing the right work, right? They want to partner with good people that are, one, leading from the front, two, building something big within their organization, and three, that's profitable, and that's going to continue to be profitable. But the beauty now, guys, is their FFL, we've done over 20 partnerships with Integrity Marketing Group. The second closest company, I believe, has done 2 or 3 partnerships within their organization. Yep. So you're in the right spot at the right place with the right company, with the right people. And guys, they're continuing to do these partnerships. They're looking for more businesses to partner with and purchase. And guys, what that means for us is, if you're fortunate enough to build your agency that Integrity wants to purchase it, you get a nice buyout and then a salary, but more importantly, you get salary and benefits for your employees. So I know a lot of you guys are looking to build a team. I'm sure we're not all looking to just sell insurance for the rest of our lives, right? For me, we hired a laundry sister and my mom to be our staff early on, and this was before Integrity. And guys, we couldn't give them health benefits and the best insurance and pay them like we wanted to pay them. And with Integrity, they're able to provide our employees all those benefits. And it really just gives you the peace of mind that, hey, I'm in the right spot. I'm with the right people. I'm doing the best by my employees and by my team. And there's more people that can have the opportunity that we have.
I love it, man. And you know what's crazy? It's like I'm with you 1,000, right? Like when we got started, like we weren't like Integrity wasn't even a thought process because it wasn't even here. And for most of you guys that are on the call, like they're brand new agents, your goal shouldn't be Integrity because that's like 3 to 4 years from now, maybe, right? But your goal should be like, can I take care of my family and can I provide a living for myself as strong as I can? After you take care of that and we reach the goals of doing that and being able to help others do the same, then we can probably consider that. But my whole thing was I learned very early on, like, begin with the end in mind. Like we didn't have that. Like knowing what I know now, I would have went harder my first 2 to 3 years because there was an Integrity deal instead of just playing around with it, because I think most of you guys know that. But Josh, like one of the coolest things, right? Like they always say hindsight's 20/20. Right. And now that you are an Integrity partner, now that you have sold a lot of insurance, built a big team that sold a lot of insurance, sold your business for a lot of money and all that, knowing all the information now, if you can go back and become a brand new agent, like how would you do it? What would your schedule be like? Like share with us like how you would do those things.
Yeah, Steve, there'd be a lot that I would have done differently. And again, we're fortunate that we, built our business and the way we did it and we're here now. But guys, you've got a cheat code right in front of you. You guys, I want to start with this, Steve, like those Zoom dials and being a part of this, hierarchy and this base shop. Like a lot of times people think it's always greener on another side or another team or another group and guys, you have an Integrity partner that's leading from the front, that's with you guys on live dials. And I just want to really emphasize how important that is. So leading me to my first point, write this stuff down, guys. I would have been way more consistent, right? And I think early on, guys, again, my mind wasn't right. And that led to me getting inconsistent results in the business, okay? And early on, guys, again, I was serving and bartending 4 days a week, again, just trying to get by, trying to pay my bills. And we were struggling, right? The first 9 months in business weren't a fairy tale. There were so many ups and downs. We were beaten and bruised by, the field, the phones, the leads. We just thought like, hey, this Steven's got better leads than we do. That's why he sells so dang well, right? Like you're always looking at external factors when in reality, it's all on you. The success and failures in this business is 100% on you. But number one, I would have been way more consistent, guys. I didn't plan out anything. Naturally, I'm a huge procrastinator. I hope anybody can, relate with me there, but I wait to the last minute to get things done. And that filtered into my business, guys. So when I'd purchase leads, once every couple of weeks, it was hard for me to see any consistent result because I wasn't consistent with what I needed to do to stay, keeping the momentum in my business. So number one, schedule, right? Define what that is for you, whether you're part-time or full-time, write it down. And what I would do, I would send it to my upline. I would send it to Steven and Janelle, and that's going to hold me more accountable to wanting to stick to that schedule, right? So if I tell Steve, hey, Monday through Friday, I'm going to be on live dials from 2 to 5. That's what I can commit to right now. I'm going to show up damn near every single time, 2 to 5, Monday through Saturday. And knowing that, hey, I committed to Steve on what I need to do to make this business work, right? Number two, consistent with lead flow, right? A lot of people, guys, we get certain leads or we invest a certain amount and we don't stay consistent to that amount after a bad week, right? And that's something I did for a full year, guys. I would invest, a certain amount in leads. I wouldn't get the result I wanted, and I would keep trying to squeeze more sales out of those current leads. When in reality, I need to keep my business full, right? I need to keep the pipeline with names and numbers and fresh people to talk to. Because guys, I don't know if you've been there, but it's hard dialing the same people over and over and over, expecting different results, right? Like I've already talked to Joe, but he's on my list again, and he already told me no, but I don't have any more numbers to call. And guys, appointments, right? Make sure if you're full-time, you're running 30 appointments, whether that's virtually in the home or whatever you're doing, you want to have 30 presentations a week. And once you set that standard for yourself, it's a lot easier to get out of the emotional roller coaster early on. Because guys, I'm an analytical person. I overthink everything, Steve. And early on, that was a detriment to me and my business, because I was like, well, I bought those leads and I only sold a couple. And how, I don't know if I'm going to do that again. Instead of, hey, this is the play, I'm going to run it to, I'm running. It's like, the teams in football, Steve, the best running teams and the best blockers and the best tacklers usually win, right? If I do the basic stuff over and over and over, it's hard for anybody to lose in this business. The people that want to outsmart this thing and do their own idea every single 7 days, it's hard to get any rhythm or consistency in business. Number two, guys, association. This is something, again, I wish I could go back and, there's people in your business or in your life right now, guys, that you're going to be like, well, are you still doing that life insurance thing? Like, how's that going? Like, aren't you nervous about being commissioned? Like, there's always going to be people trying to pull you back to your previous life, right? Or what you were doing previous before FFL, whether that's family, friend, mom, dad, coworkers. Guys, we had it all. And I would listen to everybody, right? But in reality, I'm out making triple what they're making, and they're trying to tell me my opportunity is not the right one for me and my family, right? So I would have leveled up my association. I would have talked to people with where I'm going, not where I've been, right? And again, it's hard, right? My pops wasn't super supportive, right? I would tell him, hey, Dad, I made this, like, and he'd be like, that's great, son, but how long are you going to do that, right? And if I had listened to him, I would have tapped out, right? Instead of plugging in with like Andrew Taylor, Stephen Yee, all these great leaders, and not only in FFL but in our industry. So connect with people with where you're going, not where you've been. And then I would have gotten uncomfortable, Steve. I feel like whenever I get comfortable in business, that's when I plateau, right? I'm showing up, I'm doing the same stuff over and over and over and wondering why my business isn't growing. Guys, you got to get uncomfortable. For me early on, that was, I'm gonna go door knock 30 people a week. I'm gonna go set a certain amount of appointments every week. I'm gonna invest more than I'm comfortable with investing in. And guys, that's what keeps you sharp in this business. Because guys, it's easy to get dull, right? You show up, you do the same, you protect the same 10, 20 families per month. You're like, I paid my bills, I'm good, right? Guys, what happens when you get chargebacks, or you have to take a couple weeks off, or you stop getting uncomfortable, and life will get uncomfortable, right? So just stay consistent in whatever you're doing, get uncomfortable, and ask more questions, man. That's what Steve, early on, I always wanted to keep my success and my failures to myself. I didn't want to reach out and reach up to people and really just pick their brain, because I was like, I'm bothering Stephen Yee. I don't want to talk to him. He's killing it right now. Instead of, hey, I'm working my tail off. I know he is too. He'll appreciate me being transparent. Steve, what do I need to do to get the result you're getting? Can you give me 3 key points on what you're doing that I can help implement in my business? So guys, it's simple stuff. We just got to stay getting uncomfortable to get to that next result that we're looking for.
Dude, I love how you said that, man. That was really good. Because like so many brand new agents want to stay in their shell by themselves. You know what I mean? And it's almost like they go, oh man, like those are my failures. And we do a call like every Thursday. We call it a sales presentation call. And what we do is we just basically have everybody's like in-home scenarios that they've gone through this past week and just basically share them and see how Colton Dewar or myself would be like, this is what I would have said. These are the things I would have done. This is how I would have overcame that objection. This is how I would have set my presentation up to not even get that objection, right? But it's like, it's so fascinating because, you know, we have usually 10, 12, 15 people on that call, and people are nervous to be able to share the results, you know, and my whole thing was like, if I was brand new and like, let's say Josh had a scenario that I haven't had yet, dude, I was like all ears, because he would be like, hey, you know, Andrew, I had this, you know, husband, his wife wasn't home, but I did the presentation anyways, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't sell him. And I would be like, note to self, don't do one-leggers. Like, I'm going to go learn from your mistakes so I didn't have to waste a ton of my own money too. Right. And so, you know, you say that because, dude, like I asked for help. Like I was a question asking fool. Like I asked everybody what they did. I had no shame in everybody knowing how bad I was. Right. But that's the thing, is sometimes we let our pride and ego get in the way because we're scared that we want to look bad. Dude, I didn't have, between you and I, Josh, like, would I rather look like a fool and make money, or like keep my ego and, you know, where it was and have no money in the bank because I didn't want to let anybody fix my problems? You know what I mean? And I wasn't that prideful, man. And so I love that, dude. So here's the other thing. You said like getting uncomfortable, right? Like, can you define some of the things that made you uncomfortable in the beginning? That like, because the things that are uncomfortable for us now is completely different than the list of stuff that we were uncomfortable back then. And what's crazy is like, you do them long enough and you don't get uncomfortable anymore because it becomes your habit, right? So like, what were some of the things that you were uncomfortable with in the beginning that you had to get used to?
Yeah, Steve, it was pretty much all facets of the business to be successful I was uncomfortable with, right? Like, guys, when you, like, who's gone to purchase leads and like you delete your credit card number when you get to the purchase point, like you're like, oh, I'll buy them later, you know, and then you never end up buying them. Like, those are the things, like, psychologically, like if you just do it, you give yourself no plan B, and you hit purchase, you hit send, you have to go to work, right? And that was something I learned later on in the business, because again, I was just tired of a result that I was getting, and it wasn't leading me in a better spot. Because I think a lot of people, Steve, they're here and they're just here, right? Like they're just going in a straight line, and they're not getting worse, but they're not getting any better. And that's the worst place to be in this business. So something that I did, I made sure I purchased leads weekly, at least weekly. I want to set a set amount every single week I'm going to purchase, right? Next is setting at certain times in the home. If I didn't hit my goal Monday through Saturday, I'm going to work Sundays, right? And I think that I'll call everybody, our whole company out. I think it's a lost art, right? We take off a lot of these days early on when, guys, nobody knows your financial situation like you, right? We get paid 7 days a week from this business. Why don't we work 7 days a week? Right. And I'm not saying you got to do that forever, but I know my bank account was ugly for a long time, and I was tired of seeing that ugly number when I opened that account. And then you start associating yourself with that number, is like, that's all you're worth. That's all you can do. But once you do more work than other people are willing to do, this business starts paying you more than we've ever been paid. Right. And again, that's a byproduct of it. Because I know, Steve, I did have the ego, because I was like, I'm super uncomfortable. I don't want to reach out to Steve or Andrew, these guys that are been in business and seen success. They're going to laugh at me and tell me, hey, well, you only have that much saved. You're only issuing this. But in reality, guys, we've all taken the long road in this business, right? We all had to take the same steps. So for me, it was just, guys, show up consistently, get on the live dials. And again, you've got a team with a culture that not many people do that, Steve. And I'm sure you know too, not many leaders are willing to get on with their team every single week and go over the weekly objections and weekly stuff you guys are running into. So again, you just got to be a part of the system. Don't act like you got to know it all, but plug in, get with people that are doing it. And guys, leverage the talent and the successful people we have in these groups, because that's only going to help you. Because once you hear that objection again, Steve, I know I'm going to turn it around, protect that family. And in turn, I'm going to take care of my family better, because I'm just getting better along the way. And guys, I get uncomfortable, consistent schedule. Those are really the main things that I struggled with early on, Steve, really the primary things in business. And guys, my mindset sucked. Like, my mindset was horrible, because to go Hall of Fame, to be a top producer, you got to do it here first. And for me, that was my hardest thing. Cause again, I'm 30 years old. All my friends and family have careers, they're starting families. And I'm over here working at the restaurant, trying to get this insurance business off the ground. I'm embarrassed. My the self-esteem was low. But once you guys, and I tell you this sometimes, Steve, your work ethic has to outwork your belief level early on, right? You got to outwork where you're currently believing in your business and in your life. Because once you do that, you prove it to yourself. It's a lot easier to see consistency and see success in your business when I'm gonna show up no matter what. I'm gonna be on live dials, Steve, today, tomorrow, and the next day, no matter what the result is that I've gotten over the last week. I'm gonna show up.
Do you know what's crazy is like I struggle with massive confidence when I started here, right? Like you talk about like low self-esteem, limiting beliefs and all that. Like, dude, I all of it, right? And like people go, oh man, you like they see Stephen Yee today. They didn't see Stephen Yee 5 years ago. Like, dude, I was in a shell, bro. Like if we walked into a room and there's 20 people there, I wasn't gonna say hi to nobody. I was gonna stand in the cooler by myself, like, But what was crazy is like you said, the work ethic has to outwork the belief. And dude, that's how I built my confidence. People ask me all the time, it's like, they might struggle a little bit with self-confidence, or they struggle with limiting beliefs. I built my confidence and all that through the promises I kept to myself. And what I mean by that was like, if I said I was going to dial the phone by 8, Josh, I was going to dial the phone by 8. If I dialed at 8:02, I was like, man, I failed myself today. Like something so small like that. You know what I mean? And like, I never set goals on going like, I'm going to set 22 appointments today. I was like, no, when I'm bringing you, how about I call from 8 to 10 straight without a break? Like that'd be a win. You know what I mean? And it's like little wins over a long period of time end up becoming big wins. And I said this in our boot camp, like, you get to a point where confidence trumps credibility because you're so confident in what you do that, like I was talking to like Josh, I was talking to Steve Giordano and I was like, hey dude, what do you wear when you run appointments? He goes, dude, no joke, a tank top and shorts, hat on backwards. And I'm like, dude, you're kidding, right? He was like, nope, it's what I wear. And I'm like, but he's that confident. He is the #1 producer in Family First Life, but he's that confident. He doesn't have to wear a suit and tie. He doesn't do any of that because he's so confident in what he does. And I wasn't there when I started, but I wanted to get there slowly. And I did it through the work, kind of like you said. Josh, the other thing I wanted to kind of talk about too is, you're an athlete, you play football, right? I played basketball, coached basketball. We have a lot of athletes on our team. I was sharing this with Bruce's group the other day. I said, when I was coaching basketball, I always had like let's say practice was from 2 to 4. We would have the guys that would be in the gym till like 6, but they were like talking to their girlfriend, shooting the crap with their friends, like messing around. They weren't really going hard, right? Like they were, lollygagging in the gym. And then like the best players on our team, they would never be in the gym for 2 hours. They'd be in the gym for about 35, 45 minutes going hard for like that short segment. And when they're done with their workout, they're out, right? And what I've come to realize is we do the same thing here. A lot of people go on Zoom. A lot of people say they're working 10, 12, 14 hours a day, but they're not really working if you actually track their activity 10, 12 hours a day. They're thinking and they're hanging out more than they're actually doing. And I think that's the part that like we got to change. Because like the virtual stuff is cool and all that. Don't get me wrong. Like I enjoyed it. I think it's a great compliment to what we do. But sometimes we mistake being on Zoom for working. You know what I mean? And I wish we can fix that. Like, do you have any of that? Did you go through any of that yourself, or do you see any of that in your group?
Yeah, like guys, quick story. When I started or was starting, right, and I knew that my financial situation, I knew I needed this. I knew in my mind, I'm like, this is what I have to do. But then you get to dialing, right? You dial for an hour, you're not seeing the result you get. And Steve, I would go like mow that. I'd go vacuum the house, bro. I didn't even vacuum, but I would just start finding other duties that I could do to keep myself busy to get away from the business, right? And I think that, maybe you don't vacuum, but maybe you take a break mentally and you check out. But for me, guys, for the people that you need this, right? Like financially, your family needs this. Some of you, this is your last option. And a lot of people want to check the box, Steve. Like, I showed up today, I did everything I could today. But in reality, it's, did you get better today? Because I think a lot of times, like Steve, we would go out in the field, we'd go sit for appointments and just go home, right? Because we had no showed 3 of them, sat on one, no close. But did you get better? And there was a lot of those days where I felt early on where I'm like, I didn't get better at all. The same concerns and the same how I felt uncomfortable driving up to door knock that house. I still felt that. So what it meant is I need to do it more, right? Because again, guys, if you're staying true to yourself and getting uncomfortable every single day, you're going to get better. And guess what, Steve, if I'm on Zoom all day and I did everything I could to protect the family and I know I can go to bed and sleep at night and know that I did everything. I let it all hang out, right? I did everything I could. And I think a lot of people now, especially with virtual, right? We show up, we check the box, but we're not doing everything we can to get better. And that shows in your results. It shows in your mindset. It shows in your consistency. But, Trey says it best, get 1% better every day and watch your business after 90 days, look back at what you've done. And a lot of people, they stay at the same level for 90 days. And then they show up to the convention next year and they're disappointed in themselves that they didn't do what they needed to do to walk that stage or, to get recognized from FFL. Because that was the biggest thing that changed my business, Steve. I went to convention, and going on a little off topic, but I stayed for the awards, right? And there was people I knew that I talked to getting awards, and I was disappointed in myself that I didn't do the right work necessary to get recognized like that, right? Because I knew I needed it. Financially, that wasn't. But guys, I don't want that for you guys. I want you guys to go to Texas next year and know in your mind, in your heart, and your soul that I did absolutely everything I could. And this is what I'm going to do this year. But you got to stay getting uncomfortable to get 1% better every day.
I love it, man. Dude, it's it's crazy because I was listening to a podcast, I forgot who it was, right? They were saying like, dude, like if you don't go to the gym, you shouldn't make a goal to go to the gym 7 times a week. You should make a goal to go to the gym twice a week. You know what I mean? And I say that because like in this business is the same. Like if you've never dialed the phone for like 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it is, don't make that your goal. Go, hey, let me go crank these 2 hours hard. No distractions with like you said, like vacuuming the house or drying the laundry or folding clothes or you washing the dishes or whatever it is. Like let me go crank this 2 hours because I've never done it that way and build confidence, right? And it's like if you've never done like if you've never dialed the phone consistently for that long, like don't go, I'm going to go crank the phone for 10 hours today because between you and I, you're going to fail. Like there is no other way to say it, like, because you don't have the endurance yet. Like I used to run a mile when I was in high school. You tell me to go run a mile right now, I'm going to die on the 3rd lap. I'll fall flat on my face. Like I'm just going to tell you that. Like I know it, right? So if I were to go, I'm going to go run a 6-minute mile or a 5-minute mile right now. I know I wouldn't be able to do it. But I go, hey, I can go run a lap. I'll start with 1 lap. How'd that feel? Okay, cool. I think I can do a second one. And then I build my endurance to get to the full mile, right? And I think that's what some of us need to do. Like we see the Hall of Fame producers and the top producers and we go, that's where I want to be, right? But not everybody started there. And if I can go make a promise, once again, right? Confidence is keeping promises to yourself. If I can go, hey, for the next 2 hours, I'm going to dial the phone, regardless of how much people tell me to F off, go to hell, whatever it is, hang up on me. I'm just going to dial from 8 to 10. And after 10, take a drink, use a restroom break, whatever it is. You will build so much more confidence and have way better results in our business. So I love that, man. You said something earlier, Josh, about being a Hall of Fame producer here and being the person in your mind before you can be the person, physically. Dude, one of the lost things that we see, and I think in our business, is people just don't get better in their own field. And what I mean by that is like, they don't read the books, they don't listen to the podcast, they don't, attend whatever extra courses or whatever it is. But it's like, I say this, man, because we're in sales, whether people want to say it or not, we're in sales. There's a transfer of belief. We're in sales. And like, they don't study sales. They don't study how to talk to people. Like they don't understand, if you go, hey, Josh, what book have you read in the last year? They go, book, like what book? Instead of going, hey, like you and I, we talked to Andrew, and Andrew's like, oh, did you read this book? But it's not shocking that Andrew thinks and talks and does the way he is, and it's like I gently ask and challenge everybody to just pick up a book. Like if you've never read a book in a year, or don't go set up a goal to read one book a month or one book a week like Patrick Bet-David does, right? Just go, hey, let me start with one. And what can I pick up from there? And then take those things and implement in your business, right? Like I always find it fascinating. Like, people go, I want to lead a big team, but they've never studied leadership or management. They want to be a good parent, but they've never read a book on parenting. Like it's fascinating to me. You know what I mean? And it's like, this is our career and profession, Josh. Like we get compensated really, really well to do this. This isn't a job where we just show up Monday through Friday and just, like you said, check a box, and like, this is the other thing I want you guys to understand. It's like, how do we separate ourselves? Like I was always fascinated by like separation, the gap, right? And what I mean by that is this, like, let's say there's 18,000 agents at FFL. How do I separate myself to be the top 9,000? How do I fall in the top half? Okay, cool. Well, I'll probably dial on time and actually say like I'll dial at 8, not at 8:15, not at 9:22. I'm going to dial at 8. Boom, right there alone, I'm probably in the top 5,000. Right. And then I actually dial not from 8 to 10, but like 8 to 10, and then go from, 11 to 1 and actually dial for 6 to 8 hours. Oh, now I'm in the top 1,000. Right. And like, I just wanted to find out how I can be in the top 1% of the company. And it wasn't very deep because a lot of it was just work. Right. Josh, like you have, like, let's say it's Friday night, 7:30. You just got a no sale. Your next appointment's at 8, but it's an hour away in the opposite direction. More than half the company's going home. Hall of Fame producer, we're showing up. And it's just little small decisions like that, guys, that I promise you that increase and it increases your results, and then it increases your confidence, and it makes you that better of a person. So dude, I appreciate you, man. Do you have anything else that you want to leave with us before we jump into Q&As?
Yeah, Steve, I think one thing you kind of hit it on the head, but you got to build stamina in this business, right? Because I heard Jack Yu, multiple time Hall of Fame producer, he said, I run 35 appointments every single week. And I'm like, bro, I run 10 and I'm tired when I get home, right? So, and Steve hit it on the head. If you show up for Zoom and you say, hey, I'm going to commit to 3 hours, I'm going to dial as hard as I can for 3 hours, and that's what you can give, right? But show up the next day and do the same exact thing. Steve, quick story. Alondra, she's been trying to get me into Pilates, right? And Pilates, for those of you, if you're a dude and you've never taken a Pilates class, good luck. But I went into that thing, and guys, it's a hot Pilates here. So I show up and I'm like, I'm gonna tear this thing up. They don't know what I can do, right? This instructor doesn't know me, right? I'm giving myself Goggins speech before I go in there. But guys, it's 100 degrees. And the teacher, before she starts the class, she says, for everybody that's new, guys, your goal should be to not walk out of the class for the hour. And I'm in my head, I'm laughing, bro. I'm laughing. I'm like, there's some big people in here. Like, if they can make it, I can make it. Guys, by the end of the class, I'm like crawling out of that thing, right? I'm slipping all over my mat because I'm just drenched in sweat. But in reality, Alondra, she goes 4 days a week. That was my first time. Guys, if I tried to run Alondra's schedule with her classes, there's no way, right? I'd be like, I'm never going back to that hellhole again, ever. The hot Pilates. But I made a commitment to myself. I'm going to go once a week, right? And I'm going to scale that. Because if I can stay consistent with once a week, it becomes easier. The habit's there, the consistency's there. And guys, do something that's hard in your life and in business, because I promise it's only going to get you stronger moving forward.
I love it, man. Hey guys, by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A or the chat. We'll hit them. Josh, I wanted to ask you this, man. Knowing what you know now, knowing that you are an integrity partner now, the work that you put in was definitely well worth it. It's hard to even ask this question because I know the answer, but it's like, can you imagine in a million years? Can you imagine 4 years ago that you would have been here? Financial situation, relationship situation, spiritual relationship, like all that, man. Like, could you have imagined being here?
No, bro. And again, guys, when I started, right, I was so kind of down and out and mentally just defeated. But like, guys, I have 30 credits from my junior college in Bakersfield over like an 8-year span, right? So it's like school wasn't going to work out for me. And I was like, I never would have thought we would be here. And I guess like the goal for us, Steve, wasn't like, I'm going to get an integrity deal, right? It's like, I want to do something that I enjoy, I love, I care about people, and I want to be able to give back to my family and friends when they're down in it, and I think that's the best thing about where we're at now, Steve, is that we have the ability to do that, right? Family and friends, like they're going through stuff, like mental stuff is real, right? There's a lot of mental illness out there. And if you're able to give back and pour into other people that you love, like that's where it really means more than anything. Because I think early on, if you're an empty cup, you can't really pour anything out. And I was an empty cup for 29, 30 years of my life. Like it was just hard for me to give back. And now I'm able to have meaningful conversations and lead with my heart and really give more to my family and friends. And I think that's what everybody should strive to do, because guys, we got the opportunity here, right? There's literally a blank check every month. You just got to write the number and sign it and just go do it. Okay. And that's the beauty of this thing. And that was my biggest goal, Steve. I'm like, the money's going to come. I just got to go be consistent, do the right work. And once I did that, Steve, I was the agent that went home at 7:30 when I'd have another family waiting on me. I was that agent early on. But later on, guys, that would eat me up and roll into my next day, because I would have built-in excuses as to why it didn't work, right? But when you do things that are uncomfortable and you go out of your way to be consistent, now you're a top 5 person in the company when you're doing things that other people do.
I love that, man. Sean Mike, our president and CEO, he says something to all of us when we were in Boca, and he said, hey, I love all you guys, but none of you guys are smart on your own to make the type of money that you're going to make with integrity. And I was like, that's true. I think I'm somewhat smart, but I believe that 1,000%. And that's what I'm saying. It's like insurance, and I say this confidently, insurance is like one of the only vehicles that I know that can take an average person and give them amazing, amazing financial results. And I'm not here to scream about money, because I could care less about money. I don't look at my bank account every morning and go, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about life. I don't care about that. But what sucks, and I had to learn this in my early 20s, is everything in our life revolves around it though. Feeding our family, roof over our head, school district for our kids, vehicle that you drive. Like, I don't love money. I give 2 craps about money, but money dictates a lot of those things. Safety is a big one. Basic necessities, right? Types of food you can eat, like those are a big thing. And like the amount of stress that you can remove from your life, if you just had money taken care of, you would live longer and live a more quality life. That's the reason why I chase these things. I didn't chase the dollar amount in the bank account. It's just numbers on an application, right? And so I say that because, I have 2 questions, if anybody doesn't. I was watching this manager, man, and I'm very sure you know who it is. And I'm talking crap because I am, because I don't believe it at one bit. And this guy said, I just gave it away. This guy said, burnout is fake. It's not real. And I'm literally like shaking my head. Like, that's like one of the dumbest things that someone can say. You know what I mean? Like, how do you and Alondra avoid burnout? Because if you don't do this right, you can burn out.
Yeah, Steve, I think, once we started getting our rhythm and our consistency and we were doing well, like, guys, the burnout is definitely real, right? Because we were doing better financially than we had ever done. But physically, Steve, I was in the worst spot I've ever been in, because I'm in my car putting 70,000 miles a year on it, eating fast food all the time. And was I in a better place financially? Of course, but as a person, I was like letting all these other things go to the wayside. So I think moving forward, guys, the abilities that we have now and just the tools and systems we have, it allows you to get your work done, 1, but 2, you can take care of yourself, right? And for us, Steve, what that meant was we had to get back in the gym 4 to 5 days a week, because that's something we love to do all our lives, right? Alondra was a bodybuilder prior to insurance, right? And she's like, I can't have those pictures on my Instagram and be showing up 30 pounds overweight. Like, we got to be healthy for ourselves. moving forward. But guys, for us, it was, we did dinner once a week. We're going to go get some food together, right? Because we ran separate businesses. She was in the field going one way and I'm going the other way, right? And meeting up at the end of the night, it's great and all, but we didn't have any time to ourselves. So Steve, one, I wanted to get around her, go unplug from the business. I wasn't answering calls or doing texts during that time. And number two, guys, whatever your hobby is now, don't stop it, right? Just maybe scale it down a little bit. For me, that was watching football every Saturday, right? I love watching college football, but I knew that wasn't paying my bills and going to get me to the next place in my business. So, but I could still watch a game every here and there, right? I'm just not going to watch football for 8 hours on a Saturday. I'm going to go watch one game and still go run my 6-7 appointments and door knocking between. But yeah, find your balance, find what works for you. But guys, tell your goals to your close ones. Tell what you have to do. Tell them to your people around you, because they're going to help support you on that, right? Because if they see you working your tail off, they're going to want to help do everything they can to help give you the next level.
I love it, man. You said something to start the call. You said schedule is such a big thing. And I tell agents all the time, you should schedule your family stuff first. Always. We don't call ourselves family first life. If we were just BSing about that, right? We would, like, my son is banging on the door right now trying to get into the room. But I say that because, like, you schedule, like you said, you schedule date nights. I schedule from 6 to 8 p.m. every Monday through Friday. We have family time where I spend time with my kids, because for the first 2 years, I missed out on my kids, and it was okay. It was a sacrifice that I was willing to make. And I'm glad I will remake that time and time again. But Andrew Taylor said this really, really good. When you're poor and you're broke, and that's not an insult because we were there, you got to get off balance to eventually get back on balance. And a lot of people are looking to be on balance while they're broke or poor. And that's not a good thing.
No.
You know what I mean? And so, like, for me, it was like, I was willing to get off balance temporarily for a year or two to be permanently on balance for the rest of my life. Like, I'm game with that plan. Right. And we'll wrap up with this. Like, it's so important to have workout partners. I'm not talking about the gym, although that's a good idea too. It's a big deal to be able to have workout partners in your life, people that you can bounce ideas off, that are not necessarily in a financial, like they don't make $1 off of you, so they're going to give you jaded advice. And I say that because, like, Josh, like, we're not on the same team, but like I talk to Josh probably more than I talk to anybody in my upline, just being honest. Because I know the advice that he would give me is pure and authentic, not because he's going to make an override off of me, right? And so I say this because, like, this past weekend, I'll end with this story. We were talking about homes, right? And we were talking about, some of the plans that we were putting in place with our business ventures and with our, life insurance business and all this stuff. And we're talking about integrity and all these wonderful things. And I was talking about, possibly selling my home. And Josh goes, man, don't laugh, but it's one of the houses that I want to look at. And he sent me the listing. And I was like, before I could even open it, I was like, why would I laugh? Right. And then I opened the listing and I was like, oh, $6.5 million home. I freaking love it, baby. You know what I mean? And here's what's cool, though. To most people, they probably would laugh. To me, I go, I don't think I'd laugh, because you know why? We're crazy enough to dream about it, and we're crazy enough to work and go get it. And so, like, you need people like that in your life. And if you don't have one, it's okay. Go find one, because it's healthy. The people that I grew up with, I can't have a conversation with anymore. I love them to death. They're my great friends. If they wanted to go grab dinner or something, I'm in. But if they wanted to talk finance or anything like that, I couldn't do it. My mental capacity is not there anymore. And you need to be able to elevate. And that's why we always say you got to give up and then grow up mentally, and then you go up. And so find someone that's a workout partner in your life. Josh, I appreciate you for everything you've done in mine. If there's anything we can ever do, man, you let me know. But friggin' love you, bro. Thanks for hopping on and dropping some gems in our group, because it's different. It definitely changes the perspective, and it's always nice to hear a new voice. So Josh, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for hopping on. And as always, we will see you at the top. Be blessed.